Good afternoon, everybody. Jeff from Rust Bucket Valley Garage. Back on the JK today, and we are preparing to lift the body off of the frame. We decided while we're waiting for the front axle to come in approximately 5 days, that we do something else. So we decided to take and gut the engine compartment, and we have all the electrical tied back on the side. We have the radiator and hoses and everything tied back. Be a real good time to change the serpentine belt if we needed one, so we'll be checking that. On this side right here, we took out the radiator overflow, or excuse me, not the radiator overflow, the windshield washer bottle, and the engine control computer and the ABS computer. They were in a tray. We needed that space so we could take and clear the body rails up over the engine. So we went ahead and we just took that whole assembly out. We also went underneath and we took all the power steering out. We took the refrigerant lines and tied them back. So there's one of them right here that's still left in there, and we're going to tie that off to the frame. And let me show you what we did to the transmission. So as you can see, we disconnected the range shifter underneath, and it just pops off, and then there's a clip that you squeeze together, and there's like a U-clip, and it just pops out the bottom. The shifter, however, is in the top of the transmission. The way you take and get that out is there are one or two bolts that holding the rubber membrane over here with the shifter sticking up through it. You take that the rubber boot off of it, and the shifter will be left there. There is a round part that goes over this shifter shaft here, and it looks just like this. And there's a T45 bit in there that you just take and tap this thing and wiggle it on the back a little bit. It'll go ahead and come off. And then you can see how much we've raised the body already. We've raised it probably about 4.5 inches. So we're going to raise it real gently here. And let me show you the cribbing that we're putting under there as we raise it. As you can see from the back here, where one of the mounting pads is, where the bolt goes through to take and holds the chassis to the frame, we've hydraulically raised the body up off of the frame, and we have a piece of 4x4 sitting in there as interference, and we want to raise it up about 10 inches or so. And then we want to take and check and see if there are any lines or grounds or anything, fuel lines, hydraulic lines, electrical lines, anything still attached to the chassis before we actually take and pull it all off the rest of the way. And then we're just going to take and pick this whole assembly up. So we want to make sure that nothing's attached so we don't destroy anything. Okay, so we're you can see we're raised up just a little bit here, and so it's getting kind of late in the day. We've been working on this for a little while. We're going to take and continue in a bit here to raise it up just a little bit more, and tomorrow morning we are going to raise it up some more. So hopefully we're going to take and get the thing on rails, and then we're just going to take and shove it to the side. and then we're going to be able to get the engine, transmission, and transfer case off of this frame and onto the new frame. As soon as we do that, we'll go ahead and strip the fuel lines and the electrical lines off of this frame here, and then we're probably going to take and since the back of this frame is straight, it's the right front that has all the damage, and it's limited to the first curve. Let me show you where that is. So right here you can see the frame is damaged from about right here to about where this mounting block is. The rest of the frame rail is straight. So there is a frame joint right here. Okay, so if we go ahead and we cut this about right here, this rear section here, we can probably sell that for a couple $100, and it'll offset some of our costs. And I've been looking on the various websites, and they're asking $600 to $800 for that. So yeah, if we get like $300 or $400 out of it, that would be super great. But you know, we just want to get rid of it basically. But anyway, let's raise it up a little bit more and see if we can get some more cribbing under it, and then get it moved off to the side. So what we've done today is we've raised the body up, and we have separate cribbing underneath the body. Okay, so here is the rear cribbing. It's right near the rear wheel, and then we have just forward of the middle of the vehicle. We kind of did some measurements and found out where the balance point was. Okay, so we have that cribbing that is under the bottom, and we also have this cribbing that is under the frame, which we've dropped down quite a bit. Okay, and we've also rearranged the cribbing for the front so that we can get the engine hoist in here. And here we have the engine, transmission, and transfer case on the hook. Okay, so we're just trying to take and wiggle that out of there right now. The only thing we really had to do is motor mount right here, one on the right, one on the left, transmission mount right there, right there. And we had to take and make sure nothing else was hanging on. And then we're going to have to take the scope, and we're going to have to take a look at this. There's a big dent in the catalytic converter. These catalytic converters are very expensive, so we'll go ahead and stick a scope in there. We'll take the oxygen sensor out, and then we'll take this off of the engine, and we'll scope it from the top using that way, and then from the bottom we'll see if the element inside is broken or fragmented. If it is broken or fragmented, we're going to have to replace that. Okay, it's going to be an expensive piece, but it's getting new motor mounts right here. This one's broke. You can see all in here, all this stuff is broke. This is kind of loose. So we're going to be replacing both of those, and the transmission mount, which ought to take and set it back where it is supposed to be. So yeah, it'll be pretty good. So at least let's continue with the engine relocation. So as you can see, the engine has been removed. It is hanging out over on the side, which is right here. It's getting ready for the new motor mounts, which ought to be here soon. In the meantime, we've removed the chassis mounting points, which are right here. And we've worked them over a little bit, and we put anti-seize on them. And they have been installed on the new frame. All of them, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them. Today we are going going to work on transferring over the electrical wiring and the brake lights that are still on here. I'm going to transfer them over to the new frame, and then probably tomorrow or the next day we are going to take and move the exhaust system over. It takes a little bit of time to take and undo all the mounts and everything and get that moved over. We don't know if we're going to have to take and replace any of those mounts, but we'll have to take and order them, and you can probably see what it amounts like right there. It's kind of a rubber thing that isolates the exhaust vibration from the frame. On the new frame, we have also started assembling the new suspension. This control arm right here was very severely bent, and then this is what the one on the other chassis that we could not get out because right here there is a bolt that the frame was bent so bad that we couldn't take and get the bolt out. So we got that out, and the bolt was okay, and the keeper was okay. And there's another one over here. So both of those parts have been replaced. We have also moved over the rear transmission mount. We sanded that down and painted that, and the bolts have been wire wheeled and painted, and then the threads have been dipped in anti-seize, and that has been reinstalled. So we did notice one thing, that on this corner right here, that this mount was bent just a little bit. So we straightened that out, and everything's fine now. Everything lines back up. So we'll continue on with the changeover of the brake lines and the electrical. So this is what we've done so far. We've removed the wiring harness from the old chassis, and we're starting to take and route it on the new chassis. And we pretty well got it tucked in. These lines that are kind of dangling here, they go over to the fuel tank. We might be putting a fuel tank in next, get it out of the way. We need to take and run the lines for the wheel speed sensors, and also that same sensor is used for the tire pressure monitoring system, which this is a module right here. It's on the rail over the rear end. And let me show you what else we've been doing. So yesterday we got the brand new motor mounts. We have those installed. So there's two on the front and the transmission mount. Right here, this has been installed. This mount right here was bent, so we straightened that out so everything fits up the way it should. Since we kind of ran out of parts for a minute, we decided to take and start the body work. The rear lift gate has been removed, and I'll show you that in a minute, what we're going to be doing to that. There was a trailer electrical hookup that was on here that was kind of Mickey Mouse. We have some repairs on the wiring to do. So we're going to resplice these and clean this up, put heat shrink on there. This plugs into the rear tail light. This right here was where the license plate holder was. So if we, well, there's two problems with it being right here. First off, it goes off the side about this far. So there's a real good possibility that it can get ripped off on the trail. And also, we like the approach angle on the rear to be as tight as we could, and it hung out too far. And that's the same deal with the tire carrier that was on the back here. And let me show you that. We've moved the rear tailgate over into the back workshop where we're going to take and do some body work on that. There's all kind of holes in here for stuff that has to do with the spare tire, and we want all that stuff off there. There's a vent that goes in here. Looks like this. We remove that. There's a plug in here, some kind of accessory or something. Remove that. This right here. This was all how the tire carrier, which is this big giant device right here. This is where the third brake light is. Going to relocate that. This right here hang out off the back of the vehicle like a foot. Okay, and that kills the departure angle of the vehicle. In other words, when you come down off of a rock or something, it's just something that's hanging out there to take and let it get torn off for you. So what we're going to do is all these holes and everything, we're going to take and seal them up. We're going to weld a plate in here, and we're going to finish this off. We're going to repaint this whole thing, and then we're going to remove the license plate holder and light from where it's living right now, which was off to the side, and we're going to take it, put that in the middle here, someplace up just a little bit higher, maybe in this area right here. Okay, so make the departure angle a little bit better. I think it'll look a little bit cleaner. We'll have a rear door that still opens up, and then when we take and do the roll cage inside, we're going to mount the spare tire inside. Okay, so it'll give it a lot cleaner look. Okay, so this is going to be end of part 2. So we're going to take and edit this up and get it uploaded for you all. And we appreciate you all. Thank you for all of the views. Thank you for all of the likes. Please subscribe. We have some very interesting content that is coming up, and I'm sure you really appreciate it. Things you probably haven't seen before. So anyway, the way this thing is going, it is on track. So today is actually Friday, so we should be getting our front end housing sometime today. So we got to take and get bearings and seals for it, and then we're going to be building that up, get it in the vehicle. So then we'll have a rolling chassis back again. So that'll be awful nice. So thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.